Hi, third graders. Today, I guess you probably were watching this video first. So today we are starting our turtle unit, and the first turtle we're learning about in our turtle unit is sea turtles. Everybody's favorite, right? So we are going to be studying both sea turtles and what I call land turtles, which include tortoises, pond turtles, lake turtles, things like that. But there are quite big differences between sea turtles and the rest of the turtle population. So we are going to talk about some of those similarities, but mostly the differences for today. And then we're going to talk a little bit more about just specifically sea turtles, and then some of the trouble that the sea turtles are in and what we can do to help. So first of all, we're going to start talking about what is the difference between a sea turtle and a land turtle. So on the left, you have a little bitty baby sea turtle, and on the right, you have an adorable land turtle, or, just not a sea turtle. So what are some differences? What about their feet? Okay, so turtles who spend most of their or part of their time on land have feet, and sea turtles actually have flippers. Sea turtles actually spend little to very, very, very little of their life on land. Female sea turtles will be on land when they are hatching and heading to the water, and then when they return to lay their own eggs as an adult. Male sea turtles are really only ever on land when they are hatched, and then they spend the rest of their life in the ocean. So flippers are super important if you are spending your entire life swimming, right? Whereas other turtles spend some of their time on rocks or on land, right? Crossing the road like they shouldn't be, right? Or on logs or different things like that, or also swimming too. But for a sea turtle who spends the majority of their life in the water, makes sense that they have flippers, right? And not feet and claws. All right, so that land versus water is super important, like I just talked about. Another big difference that maybe you can tell from these pictures is that sea turtles cannot retract their head and their feet, or flippers, right, into their shell. So a non-sea turtle, right, can put its head inside its shell to hide, and its feet, they can tuck their feet in to hide. A sea turtle cannot do that. Their flippers and their head are always out. So that is a major difference between the two. And some of my students today even talked about another major difference, which is their food, right? Their diet. Sea turtles live in the ocean, so they're going to encounter very different foods than a turtle who lives in land or ponds or lakes, right? So sea turtles, a lot of their diet is jellyfish, which is very different than the turtles who live around us, right? Because there are not jellyfish swimming around in our lakes and ponds and rivers. All right, so their diet, what they eat, is very different as well. So there's a beautiful sea turtle up close. All right, so I'm going to tell you guys a little bit about a trip I went on a few years ago to the Florida Keys. My sister lived in Florida for a couple of years, and I went down to visit her. And my sister was studying environmental biology. So her goal someday is she would love to work with sea turtles. And her and I both love turtles in general and sea turtles and wanted to learn more. So we went down to the Florida Keys to a place called the Turtle Hospital, which is in the Marathon Keys, and their job is to rescue, rehabilitate, and release. So they will often be called when somebody finds a turtle in distress, and they will come and get the turtle, bring it back to the Turtle Hospital, rehab it, which means bring it back to health, right? So if it needs surgery or if it needs various other medications or things, if it has an infection, they help get it healthy again if they can, and then release it back into the wild. Is their goal, is to be able to release it back into the ocean. If it's damaged beyond what it would be safe to be back in the ocean, then they'll send it to like an aquarium or something like that, where they won't be in danger. Sometimes they lose a flipper and they can't survive, or they end up with a crack or something that's too big on their shell that causes them not be able to dive to the depths that they need to properly to be able to feed. And so then they can't return them to the wild. But generally, their goal is to be able to send them back into the ocean. So while we were there, we got to learn a lot about sea turtles. We learned a lot about the different problems that they encounter and the issues that they face. Like I said earlier, they eat mostly jellyfish. And a picture that I showed my students here today, and hopefully I'm going to try and get it to show you guys too, is their diet is mostly jellyfish. And the biggest concerns that they have is pollution, because turtles don't have the greatest eyesight and they eat just about anything that floats by. And if they eat trash, that causes big problems for their stomachs and their digestive systems. And a floating plastic bag in the ocean, surprisingly, looks a lot like a jellyfish floating in the ocean. And when they eat a plastic bag, think about what that would do to your stomach, right? Eating a plastic bag is not good for your stomach. It's not good for a turtle either. So pollution and trash is a huge problem for turtles, as well as getting hit by boats, which causes damage to their flippers and their shells. So two of their biggest predators, if you could call them that, right, is us, humans. Yikes, right? The other one would be when they are babies and they're first hatching, so hatchlings, birds will come and prey on them as they are trying to make their way to the ocean. So those are kind of their biggest threats, right? Their biggest threats. And so today, I want you guys to start to think about some ways that you can help fix that problem, right? And there's a video that I'm going to have you guys watch of some cool Enviro kids and some ideas that they have. But anyways, back to my trip to the Keys. Here are some of the turtles that we saw who are being rehabbed, right? So brought back to health. We even got to feed some sea turtles. My students today were shocked at how big sea turtles are. One of the biggest differences between regular turtles and sea turtles, which I forgot to tell you, is size. Sea turtles are huge and they can live a really long time. They can live 80 to 100 years, which is a long life for an animal. So here's some more sea turtles. Here's my feet in the sea turtles. All right, so I'm going to link this video on your Maven card for you guys so that you guys can see that. And then I'm going to quick click on this link so that I can show you guys that cool picture of, well, maybe it's not a cool picture, but the interesting picture of a plastic bag and a jellyfish. So on the left, you can see it labeled. This is what a plastic bag looks like floating in the ocean. This is what a jellyfish looks like floating in the ocean. You can see how a turtle would get confused, right? That looks super, super similar to me. And it probably does to you guys too. Okay, so I think that's about it for your introduction for turtles for today. In the next couple of weeks, I will show you guys more about turtles. We're going to talk more about turtles and different kinds of turtles. But have fun, guys, making your projects. Don't forget to click on the video below so that you can figure out what your project is this week. It's a fun one. And that's about it. I'll talk to you guys later.